Air fried blackened catfish and pressure cooked cheese grits, all in one pot. And that pot is the Ninja Foodie. It's a very easy and simple recipe to follow, and I think you're going to be impressed. I'm John Sanders, and welcome to In the Kitchen with Jelly 007. Let's get this started. Okay, so the first part of this recipe is to get the grits going, because you got to start that first. Now, the grits are a little confusing, honestly, and a lot of people don't understand it, and it's because it's a little confusing. And these are what I call regular grits, or stone ground, or maybe you'd say, or milled. There's a lot of different terms, but in other words, they're not designed to cook real fast. Because then you have the next step, which is quick grits. Quick grits are the same thing as this right here, honestly, and I had to read up on it to figure all this out, but quick grits are milled to a finer grain, and they cook faster, and that's the only difference. But then you have instant grits. Instant grits are a whole different animal that most people in the South don't eat. Well, they may, but it's not something you want to tell a bunch of people, I'll put it like that. But they're freeze-dried, they're cooked, I think, and then they're freeze-dried, then you just put hot water on them. But what I'm getting at is you want regular grits for this recipe, or stone ground. Okay, so the grits, the salt, and the water are all mixed together real well. And then a very important step that you can't forget, 1 cup of water into the bottom of the Ninja, has to have that. And then set your trivet in. Put the pressure lid on. Put it to seal. And then we're going to press pressure on high for 4 minutes. Hit start. We're off and running. And once that completes, we'll let the timer, once it goes to 0, it'll start counting back up. We're going to let it go to 10 minutes on a natural release. And then if there's any pressure left, we'll release it, but we'll see. Anyhow, y'all hold up. Be right back. Okay, just so you can see, it's going to count down and obviously start counting back up, like I said. But I've already rinsed the fish, and I've got them drying. We're going to, once that happens, once that 10 minutes is done and we get the grits out, we're going to put the butter. It calls for a half a stick of butter, and we're going to put a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and we're going to stir that in real well, and then we're going to put a layer of sharp cheddar cheese on top of them. That's to help them, because we're going to leave them sitting out covered with aluminum foil while this preheats. We're going to put this in. We're going to take this to 425, or to the broil feature. We're going to put it on the broil feature for 5 minutes and let this get hot. And then these fish, we're going to spray with the avocado oil. We're going to cover them or coat them, not too liberally, but you'll see. It's PRUDHOMME blackened redfish magic, and it works excellent. And we're going to coat the fish with it, lightly, kind of heavy, you'll see. And then we're going to put them in here once this pan is hot. We're going to lay those in there, and then we're going to air fry them at 390 for like 10 minutes. And I'm going to get the thermopin out, and we're going to check the temp on them, because these are a little thicker than normal. These are pretty thick. They're thicker fillets than I normally have, so we'll see. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're coming up on the 10 minutes of natural release, and the pin has not dropped. So at 10 minutes, I think we're close enough. And you can see there was very little pressure left. So when that falls, I'll be right back. Well, there it went. Don't have to be right back. There was very little pressure. So let's see what they look like. Let that water run in there, because it may need it. It ain't gonna hurt. And I'm just going to take a look at them. We'll look at them together. And they look excellent as always. Those grits are just, I mean, pressure cooked grits to me are probably as good as any I've ever had. They're a little hard to stir in there, but you get the point. You just kind of mix them up, and I mean, they're still plenty hot, so they're going to do a little more cooking actually. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get that out of there. Okay, so I got the grits out, and I poured the water out of the basket, I'm gonna lower this lid. We're going to hit the broil feature, and it's calling for 10 minutes, and we'll leave it there because it may take me longer than 5 to get this ready. It's gonna hit start. And that's gonna get that pan really hot. That's the hottest feature the Ninja has, is the broil feature. We're not gonna use it to cook with. I'm just gonna use it to get that air frying basket really hot. So, well, might as well keep you here because we're gonna add, that's a half cup measurement. So I've got about, I don't know, it might make a third of a cup. It's a little more than a quarter, but I'd said a quarter of a cup, but believe me, it's not that big of a deal. But that's Parmesan, that's shredded Parmesan cheese. That's what I've learned to use, or what I use now. And I got to keep remembering not to grab that with my hand. And then just going to mix this up. And once I get this mixed up real well, I will bring you back because I want to get this mixed up. And then we're going to put cheddar cheese on top of it. And that's kind of to seal it a little bit. And then I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil. And believe me, grits stay hot for a long time. But I don't want to rush this part right here. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'll bring you back when I'm putting that aluminum foil on, or when we get it ready to put the cheese on. So hold up. Okay, so I found this cool enough I can kind of hold this, but here's all I'm doing is just mixing this real well. Just get that butter and that Parmesan cheese mixed in, and it's just that flavor of the Parmesan and a little bit of string. And again, or what I was going to say earlier, you can put mozzarella, you can put Gouda, you can put any kind of cheese you wanted in here. I mean, you know, within reason, and it works great. This is just a recipe that that goes with Ninja's shrimp and grits, and I thought it'd be the simplest to use, and it works. It's really, really good. But any type cheese you want to use, and to be honest with you, there's some other cheeses like Monterey Jack and stuff you can put in there that make it a little different, but this is what they call for. That's pretty much their shrimp and grits recipe for the grits. Now here's something they don't say do, or something they don't normally do, but in shrimp and grits you're doing it different. These have got to sit out for a while, so I kind of want to seal the top of them because I don't want them drying. If you've ever cooked grits before, they'll get hard on the top. So I'm going to do this to kind of, one, makes it taste a lot better. And but like I said, the recipe doesn't call for this. But I'm just going to sprinkle cheese across the top of it, and that'll help seal that moisture in. Once it melts, it'll kind of seal the top of that of these grits and keep it from you know, getting firm, or what grits do. If you've ever cooked them, you know what I mean. They kind of firm up. So that's about just a light layer. And to be honest with you, it makes them a lot better. And that's and by the way, I'm using sharp cheddar. You could use whatever you'd like here also. So that right there is what I'm going to call. And once we open that up, I mean, they're not going to be cool. Take my word, grits stay warm for a long time. But if we need to, we can put them back in the Ninja. But I doubt very seriously we'll need to. And I'm just going to lay that over like that and hope nothing surprises me. And then I'm just going to seal this up. So I'm going to get that fish ready, and we're going to get that in that air frying basket and get that started. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So it took a little longer than the 5 minutes I talked about. But anyhow, the avocado oil, I'm just going to spray them both sides. And we're going to season this side first. I just want to make sure I get, you know, a decent amount of oil on them because it needs them, or in my opinion it does. So I got to find something to wipe my hands off with. There we go. And now I'm just going to sprinkle the REDFISH, the blackening seasoning on them. And you know, that right there is probably perfect. You don't want to completely, you know, kill the fish with that flavor, but you want them covered. It's kind of like your batter at this point. And we're a little bit, let's see what we got. We got 1 minute and 50 seconds left. If we have to, we'll start it over. I wouldn't mind that sitting in just a second, and I'm actually going to hit this side because this is the one that's going to be on the basket. I'm going to hit that a little bit right there, just kind of make it stick a little better. And same thing over here. And this seasoning is, you can make your own. There's plenty of recipes. In fact, I read what's in this once before, and it's really close to some of the recipes that are online. But if you ask me, for simplicity, this, you know, it's a lot easier. So, as soon as that time's out, we're gonna give it a second. I want that to sit just a minute, quite honestly. In fact, we're gonna let that sit just a minute. I may restart that because we're at 56 seconds. So I will restart that and let that run for about 5 more minutes, and it should be plenty hot, and we'll get those fish in. Okay, so I'm gonna use like the sneak a peek feature. I'm just gonna open it. This may be the trickiest part. I considered setting it out, and I have before, but I'm gonna try it with it right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray that basket, and believe me, it is hot. So we're gonna get these fish in, and they're, like I said, they're a little big. You can hear that sizzle a little bit though. I'll try and get the mic a little closer. And I'm sure I'm in front of the camera, but there they are, and they work perfect, and they're just a little bit big, but they'll be okay, I think. All right, I'm gonna knock that off because I gotta wipe my hands off again. Now we're gonna go air crisp at 390 we're gonna go we'll say 10 minutes on these and then check them, and I'll be watching them. I'll sneak a peek every once in a while, but there we go, we're running. So in a few minutes I'll bring y'all back. Okay, so we're pretty much at 8 minutes. I wanted you to see it. It looks good. I just want to get an idea on where we're at on some of these thick pieces. This is the first time I opened it. And like I said, you kind of got to drag that back to see your lowest point. And I'll be honest with you, that is really, really close. We're going to let it go just a minute longer. But I think that might be done. I'm gonna go from that thickest point right there. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put the camera down and make sure I'm good everywhere. Well, let's see right here. Some of it don't look set all the way, maybe. It's gonna be hard to tell till I pull it out of there. But I think even 8 minutes may have gotten it. But hold on, I'm gonna check a couple more places and I'll be right back. Yeah, I don't know why I closed that lid. So we're just gonna, I just need to set the camera back, and I'm gonna look a little better where I can see what I'm doing. And believe me, I'm kind of shocked. Seemed like last time it took 10 minutes and they were smaller fish. So that's why I'm double, triple checking. And they were, and I don't remember it being 8 minutes. I just don't. I was thinking it was 10 minutes and I added a couple, but hey, everything's different. It may be because I heated it so well. So I'm pulling them out. I mean, they're 180, you know, or I didn't see anything much lower than that. They're all I want. So we're gonna get those out right now. And we're gonna let them sit, let them rest just a minute. We'll look at them one more time. But they look fantastic. Whoops, I'm kicking the camera. They look fantastic. Anyhow, we're gonna put that on some of those grits and see what they look like on a plate. I'll be right back. Okay, so I checked them again. I checked them 6 ways from Sunday, and the lowest number I could get was 156. So I am good with that, because I know that was it's gonna climb from that. And we're gonna let them rest, just like that, while I get the plate ready and get some grits in it and get one of those pieces of fish on it. I'll be right back. Okay, so I wanted you to see the grits when I opened them up. And there they are. And I mean, that's going to be some good stuff. What I'm going to do is put some in this bowl and lay that fish on top of it as if I was, you know, presenting it to a guest or something. So, but you can see, man, that's going to be right. And especially if you get those grits out of there just right, it's going to look real good. We're going to go ahead and get some out. It's not that big a deal. There's no one to present it here to tonight. It's just me. So we're going to put that there. And that right there, and if you wanted to stir that up and kind of loosen it back up, you could. But take my word, those grits are perfect for this kind of meal. And they really, really are. Baby doll, the wife, went with the ladies to a mountain retreat for the weekend. So that's where she is. I did buy all the stuff to make it real pretty. In fact, I got parsley. And I mean, it's like $2. It's worth buying. And of course, some lemons. I like lemons on just about all fish. But the parsley, you just simply, you know, trim, just take some scissors and just lightly trim. And it's just for looks. It ain't no big deal. I might have got a little big chunk there. I'm no professional at it. And you don't have to be. You just, in fact, I'll take a little more time with that and get those dressed up a little bit, but you get the idea. And you could do a lot of things. You could mix that grits up or leave it just like that, fill that bowl a little better maybe than I did, but I'll be honest with you, that is some good looking food. And I'm fixing to show you what it looks like when I take a bite of it. So y'all hold up and I will be right back. Well, here it is. And I mean, it is 100% excellent. Even though I was worried about the temps were a little high, but be honest with you, no, they're perfect. Now, I'll say Paul PRUDHOMME, he was one of the best there was in New Orleans for blackened redfish in his seasonings. And it works as good on catfish. I mean, redfish are really hard to get around here, so I've never really used it many times on redfish. Mainly it's catfish, tilapia, or something like that, but catfish usually. The grits are excellent. You can see the fish is cooked 100% perfect. Well, I had a piece on my fork, but it fell off. But you can see it is cooked. That is as flaky as you're going to get. And I mean, it's cooked perfect. Even though I was worried about it being over temped a little bit, but it was, you know, 10 or 15 degrees high, but that worked. The grits are absolutely perfect. I love them. I'm just saying, for a New Orleans style dish at your house, done in the Ninja, simple as it gets, using something right out of a bottle, some catfish, and some really good yellow grits. Like I said, I don't think you'll beat this at many restaurants. Thank y'all for watching my video, and y'all come back to see me. I'll put something up here for y'all, or Google will, or somebody will, put you right here, another one of my videos to watch. And my big head, as always, will be floating over here. Thanks everybody for subscribing. I appreciate it. I really do. And sharing my videos, I appreciate that. And y'all come back to see me. Y'all have a good night. I love y'all all. And cook you some blackened redfish. Or, I'm sorry, blackened catfish. It's just as good. Bye-bye, y'all.